Throughout history, the European people have demonstrated an undeniable force of resilience, innovation, and transformation. From the rise of ancient civilizations to the Industrial Revolution, from the Renaissance to the modern age, Europe has been at the forefront of shaping the world. The power of European humans is not just in their scientific advancements, artistic expressions, or military conquests. It is in their ability to adapt, to rebuild, and to push the boundaries of what is possible. Today, we explore the depths of this power, not just in the past, but in the present and future. The intellectual and philosophical legacy of Europe stands as one of the most profound and transformative forces in human history. From ancient Greece to the modern era, European thinkers have shaped the way humanity perceives reality, morality, governance, and the very nature of existence itself. The power of European humans lies in their relentless pursuit of knowledge, their ability to challenge existing norms, and their unyielding quest for deeper truths. The origins of European intellectual dominance can be traced back to ancient Greece, where philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle laid the foundation for Western thought. Socrates introduced the concept of critical questioning, encouraging people to challenge their beliefs rather than blindly accept them. His famous Socratic method became the bedrock of philosophical inquiry, emphasizing dialogue and reasoning over dogma. Plato, his student, explored the nature of reality, the ideal state, and the immortality of the soul, while Aristotle contributed to logic, ethics, politics, and the sciences. Their ideas not only influenced their own time but continued to shape civilizations for millennia. As Europe transitioned from antiquity to the medieval era, intellectual progress faced challenges. However, the rise of great institutions such as the University of Paris, Oxford, and Bologna kept the flame of knowledge alive. The scholastic movement, led by thinkers like Thomas Aquinas, sought to reconcile faith with reason, integrating Aristotelian philosophy with Christian theology. The medieval period saw a flourishing of intellectual thought in monasteries, where knowledge from the ancient world was preserved and later rediscovered. The Renaissance marked a turning point in European intellectual history, sparking a renewed interest in classical knowledge, art, and human potential. This era, fueled by figures such as Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Niccolo Machiavelli, emphasized humanism, the idea that human beings have limitless potential and should be at the center of intellectual and artistic pursuits. This period saw the revival of ancient texts, the perfection of artistic techniques, and the birth of new philosophical movements that questioned the rigid structures of the past. Following the Renaissance, the Enlightenment propelled European intellectualism to unprecedented heights. Thinkers like René Descartes, John Locke, Montesquieu, and Immanuel Kant championed reason, individual rights, and scientific inquiry. Descartes' famous assertion, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, laid the foundation for modern rationalism, emphasizing the power of human thought as the basis of existence. Locke's ideas on liberty and governance laid the groundwork for democracy, inspiring revolutions and the creation of modern political systems. Voltaire and Montesquieu fiercely advocated for freedom of speech, separation of powers, and the limitation of tyranny, ideas that shaped the very fabric of European and global governance. The intellectual legacy of Europe is not confined to philosophy alone. It extends to science, politics, and ethics. Figures such as Karl Marx introduced revolutionary ideas about society and economics, challenging traditional structures and inspiring movements across the world. Sigmund Freud pioneered psychology, unlocking the mysteries of the human mind. Friedrich Nietzsche questioned morality, religion, and the meaning of existence, pushing humanity to confront uncomfortable truths. The power of European humans is reflected in their ability to think deeply, challenge authority, and propose new ways of understanding the world. Even in the modern era, European intellectual thought continues to influence global discussions. European universities remain among the most prestigious institutions in the world, nurturing scholars, scientists, and leaders who push the boundaries of human knowledge. Think tanks, philosophical schools, and academic institutions across the continent continue to generate ideas that shape political policies, ethical debates, and scientific advancements. The European Union, as a political and economic body, represents a modern testament to intellectual and diplomatic evolution, an effort to unite diverse nations under shared principles of cooperation, democracy, and human rights. This intellectual legacy is not just a thing of the past. It is a living, breathing force that continues to drive progress. The spirit of inquiry, the thirst for truth, and the courage to question are the hallmarks of European intellectual power, shaping the world in ways that are still unfolding today. The power of European humans is perhaps most evident in their contributions to science and technology. From the dawn of recorded history to the modern era, European minds have been responsible for some of the greatest scientific breakthroughs and technological advancements that have shaped the course of human civilization. The ability to question, experiment, and push the boundaries of knowledge has been a defining characteristic of European intellectual tradition, leading to discoveries that have transformed not only Europe but the entire world. The scientific revolution of the 16th and 17th centuries was a turning point in human history. Before this era, much of scientific thought was based on religious doctrine and ancient texts. However, European thinkers such as Nicolaus Copernicus, Galileo Galilei, Johannes Kepler, and Isaac Newton challenged these traditional views with groundbreaking observations and theories. Nicolaus Copernicus, a Polish mathematician and astronomer, shattered the long-held belief that the Earth was the center of the universe. His heliocentric model, which proposed that the Earth revolves around the Sun, laid the foundation for modern astronomy. Galileo Galilei improved the telescope and used it to make significant discoveries such as the moons of Jupiter and the phases of Venus, providing further evidence for Copernicus's theory. His insistence on empirical observation and experimentation helped establish the scientific method. Johannes Kepler refined Copernican theory by discovering that planets move in elliptical orbits rather than perfect circles, leading to the development of Kepler's laws of planetary motion. Isaac Newton, one of the greatest scientific minds in history, formulated the laws of motion and universal gravitation, revolutionizing physics and laying the groundwork for engineering, mechanics, and space exploration. The spirit of European scientific inquiry did not stop there. The Age of Enlightenment in the 18th century further propelled scientific advancements. Figures like René Descartes, Blaise Pascal, and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz contributed to mathematics, while Antoine Lavoisier, known as the father of modern chemistry, revolutionized our understanding of chemical reactions, matter, and combustion. Edward Jenner's discovery of vaccination in the late 18th century laid the foundation for modern immunology, saving countless lives from deadly diseases such as smallpox. The Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries marked another transformative era of European innovation. The shift from agrarian societies to industrial powerhouses was fueled by technological breakthroughs that forever changed the way humans lived and worked. James Watt perfected the steam engine, leading to the rise of mechanized factories, faster transportation, and the expansion of industries. Michael Faraday and James Clerk Maxwell made pioneering discoveries in electromagnetism, paving the way for modern electricity, radio waves, and telecommunications. Alessandro Volta's invention of the electric battery provided the first source of continuous electric current, leading to developments in electrical engineering. Louis Pasteur made significant contributions to microbiology, developing the germ theory of disease and pasteurization, which drastically improved food safety and medical hygiene. The 20th century saw European scientific prowess expand even further into physics, medicine, space exploration, and computing. The work of Albert Einstein, a German-born physicist, revolutionized our understanding of space and time with his theory of relativity, reshaping modern physics. Marie Curie, a Polish-French scientist, became the first woman to win a Nobel Prize for her pioneering work on radioactivity, which later led to advances in medical treatments and nuclear energy. Alexander Fleming, a Scottish scientist, discovered penicillin, ushering in the era of antibiotics and drastically reducing mortality from infections. European scientists and engineers also played a crucial role in the development of space exploration. Werner von Braun, a German aerospace engineer, was instrumental in the creation of rocket technology, which later helped launch the first human to the moon. The European Space Agency, ESA, continues to contribute to space exploration, sending missions to Mars, developing advanced satellites, and collaborating on international space projects. In the realm of technology, European countries have been pioneers in computing artificial intelligence and quantum mechanics. Alan Turing, an English mathematician, laid the foundation for modern computing and artificial intelligence with his development of the Turing machine and his contributions to cryptography, which played a vital role in decoding Nazi codes during World War II. Tim Berners-Lee, another British scientist, invented the World Wide Web, revolutionizing global communication and connectivity. In medicina, European researchers continue to lead in breakthroughs such as genome sequencing, stem cell research, and pharmaceutical innovations. The European Union remains at the forefront of medical research, investing in cutting-edge technologies that are shaping the future of healthcare. The power of European humans in science and technology is undeniable. Their relentless pursuit of knowledge, their ability to challenge conventional wisdom, and their desire to improve human life have led to some of the most groundbreaking discoveries in history. The scientific and technological innovations born in Europe have not only propelled humanity forward, but have also laid the foundation for the modern world as we know it. The cultural and artistic influence of European humans is one of the most profound and enduring legacies in the world. For centuries, Europe has been at the forefront of artistic expression, shaping music, literature, painting, sculpture, architecture, theatre, and cinema. The richness of European culture is a testament to the creative genius, intellectual depth, and deep appreciation for beauty that has defined its people. From the grandeur of the Renaissance to the bold experimentation of modern art, Europe has consistently produced movements and masterpieces that continue to inspire and shape global culture. Ancient European art and literature, the roots of European artistic influence can be traced back to ancient Greece and Rome, where the foundations of Western literature, drama, and visual arts were laid. The epic poems of Homer, the Iliad and the Odyssey, remain some of the most celebrated works in human history, exploring themes of heroism, destiny, and human struggle. Greek theatre, pioneered by playwrights such as Sophocles, Aeschylus, and Euripides, established dramatic structures that are still used in storytelling today. These early forms of artistic expression set the stage for Europe's enduring influence on literature and performance. The Roman Empire further expanded artistic traditions, refining sculpture, architecture, and literature. Virgil's Aeneid became a defining epic of Roman civilization, while Roman architects engineered structures such as the Colosseum, aqueducts, and triumphal arches, which have influenced architectural design for centuries. These artistic achievements demonstrated the power of storytelling, symbolism, and craftsmanship that would shape future generations of European artists. The Renaissance, a cultural revolution. The Renaissance, 14th and 17th century, marked a period of immense cultural and artistic flourishing in Europe, particularly in Italy. This movement, inspired by a revival of classical Greco-Roman ideals, emphasized humanism, creativity, and the pursuit of beauty. The works of Renaissance masters remain among the most revered in history. Leonardo da Vinci, often considered the epitome of the Renaissance man, was a painter, sculptor, engineer, and scientist. His masterpiece, Mona Lisa, is one of the most recognized and enigmatic portraits ever created, while The Last Supper captures the dramatic intensity of storytelling through painting. Michelangelo, another artistic genius, sculpted the iconic David and painted the breathtaking frescoes of the Sistine Chapel, demonstrating an unparalleled understanding of anatomy, movement, and divine inspiration. Raphael, known for his harmonious compositions, created the School of Athens, a tribute to classical philosophy and the intellectual grandeur of the time. This period was not limited to visual arts. Literature also thrived. William Shakespeare, the greatest playwright in history, emerged during the English Renaissance, creating timeless plays such as Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, and Romeo and Juliet, which explore themes of love, power, fate, and human nature. His mastery of language, poetry, and drama shaped English literature and continues to influence writers and filmmakers worldwide. Baroque, classical, and romantic periods, the evolution of music and art. As Europe progressed into the Baroque and classical eras, music became a defining cultural force. Composers such as Johann Sebastian Bach, Wolfgang Amadeus Beethoven, Ludwig van Beethoven revolutionized musical composition, structure, and expression. Bach, with his intricate fugues and sacred music, demonstrated the mathematical precision and emotional depth of Baroque music. Mozart, a child prodigy, composed symphonies, operas, and chamber music that remain some of the most beloved pieces in history, blending technical mastery with profound beauty. Beethoven, a bridge between classical and romantic music, infused his compositions with raw emotion, personal struggle, and revolutionary spirit. His Ninth Symphony, featuring the famous Ode to Joy, is a universal anthem of human unity. The Romantic period in art and literature saw a shift towards emotion, individualism, and national identity. Painters like Francisco Goya and Eugene Delacroix captured political turmoil and human suffering, while poets like Lord Byron, Percy Shelley, and Johann Wood. The cultural power of Europe was evident in its ability to evoke deep emotions and provoke thought through artistic expression. Modern art and literature, European influence on global culture. The 19th and 20th centuries saw the rise of modern art movements that challenged traditional norms and reshaped artistic expression. Impressionism, led by Claude Monet and Pierre-Auguste Renoir, captured fleeting moments of light and color, revolutionizing painting technique. Cubism, pioneered by Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque, broke conventional perspectives and redefined visual representation. Surrealism, led by Salvador Dali and René Magritte, explored the unconscious mind, dreams, and the irrational, creating some of the most iconic images in modern art. European literature also continued to evolve, with writers such as Fyodor Dostoevsky and Leo Tolstoy exploring human psychology and moral dilemmas, Franz Kafka delving into existential absurdity, and James Joyce revolutionizing narrative techniques with Ulysses. These works expanded the boundaries of storytelling and remained central to literary discourse, cinema, and the global impact of European culture. With the rise of cinema in the 20th century, Europe once again asserted its artistic dominance. Early pioneers such as the Lumiere brothers and Georges Méliès laid the foundation for modern filmmaking. Alfred Hitchcock, an English filmmaker, became the master of suspense, influencing generations of directors. The French New Wave, led by François Truffaut and Jean-Luc Godard, revolutionized filmmaking with experimental techniques, handheld cameras, and non-linear storytelling. European cinema has consistently produced thought-provoking, visually stunning films that challenge social norms and artistic conventions. Directors such as Federico Fellini, Ingmar Bergman, and Andrei Tarkovsky created masterpieces that explore human emotions, dreams, and existential questions, influencing Hollywood and global cinema. The continued influence of European culture today, the cultural influence of European humans remains as powerful as ever. European fashion houses such as Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and Gucci dictate global fashion trends. European museums, including the Louvre in Paris, the Prado in Madrid, and the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, house the world's most treasured artworks. Literary awards such as the Nobel Prize in Literature continue to celebrate European literary excellence. Music festivals, opera houses, theatre productions, and contemporary artists keep Europe at the forefront of artistic innovation. Streaming platforms bring European films and series to global audiences, further expanding their influence. European culture has become a universal language of creativity, self-expression, and intellectual engagement, shaping the way people think, feel, and experience the world. The power of European humans is deeply rooted in their political and philosophical contributions, which have shaped the foundations of governance, democracy, law, and human rights across the world. European thinkers and leaders have played a crucial role in developing systems of government, articulating ideals of freedom and justice, and influencing revolutions that transformed societies. The political philosophies that emerged from Europe continue to guide modern political thought, legal systems, and global governance. Ancient foundations. Greek democracy and Roman law. The origins of European political thought can be traced back to ancient Greece, where the idea of democracy was first introduced. The city-state of Athens, under leaders such as Solon, Cleisthenes, and Pericles, established a system of government in which citizens could participate in decision-making. This was the birth of direct democracy, where free male citizens had the right to vote on laws and policies. This radical idea of governance influenced countless societies and laid the groundwork for modern democratic systems. At the same time, Greek philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle provided the intellectual foundation for political theory. Plato, in his work The Republic, discussed the concept of justice and the idea of a philosopher king, arguing for a society ruled by wisdom rather than wealth or power. Aristotle, in Politics, examined different forms of government, including monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy, and emphasized the importance of balance and virtue in governance. The Roman Republic and Empire expanded on these ideas by developing a structured legal system. Roman law, codified in the 12 Tables and later in Justinian's Code, introduced the concept of legal rights, property laws, contracts, and due process. These principles influenced legal systems in Europe and beyond, forming the foundation of many modern legal codes, including the Napoleonic Code and the judicial frameworks of nations worldwide. The rise of political philosophy in the Enlightenment 17th, 18th century, was a defining period in European history where reason, individual liberty, and scientific thought reshaped political philosophy. European thinkers such as John Locke, Montesquieu, Voltaire, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau championed ideas that led to democratic revolutions and the establishment of modern constitutional governments. John Locke, often called the father of liberalism, argued for natural rights, life, liberty, and property, and the idea that governments must be based on the consent of the governed. His writings influenced the American Declaration of Independence and the democratic ideals of modern states. Montesquieu introduced the concept of the separation of powers, dividing government into legislative, executive, and judicial branches to prevent tyranny. This model became the foundation of constitutional governments, including the United States Constitution. Jean-Jacques Rousseau wrote about the social contract, arguing that legitimate political authority comes from the people. His work fueled revolutionary movements in France and America and influenced democratic governments around the world. Voltaire was a fierce advocate for freedom of speech, religious tolerance, and civil liberties, principles that became central to modern human rights laws. These Enlightenment thinkers provided the ideological foundation for the American Revolution, 1776, the French Revolution, 1789, and the abolition of absolute monarchies across Europe. Their ideas continue to influence democratic movements and human rights advocacy worldwide. Revolutions and the birth of modern democracy. The late 18th and 19th centuries saw the implementation of Enlightenment ideals through revolutions and political reforms. The American Revolution, 1776, inspired by European political philosophy, led to the creation of the United States Constitution, which enshrined democratic principles, separation of powers, and individual rights. The French Revolution, 1789, overthrew the monarchy and established principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity, leading to the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen, which became a cornerstone of human rights law. The European revolutions of 1848 sought to establish democratic governments, expand suffrage, and promote civil liberties. These movements contributed to the spread of constitutional monarchies and parliamentary democracies. During this period, Great Britain also expanded democratic participation through reform acts that extended voting rights and solidified the principles of representative democracy. The development of modern political systems, the 19th and 20th centuries, saw the further development of political ideologies that shaped global governance. Liberalism, rooted in the works of Locke and Mill, promoted individual freedoms, market economies, and constitutional government. It became the dominant ideology in Western democracies. Socialism and Marxism, developed by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, criticized capitalism and advocated for workers' rights, public ownership, and economic equality. These ideas influenced labor movements and political revolutions, leading to the establishment of socialist governments. Conservatism, championed by thinkers like Edmund Burke, emphasized tradition, gradual change, and the preservation of institutions. Nationalism, which emerged in the 19th century, led to the unification of Germany and Italy and played a role in shaping modern nation-states. The 20th century was marked by the struggle between these ideologies, leading to major conflicts such as World War I, World War II, and the Cold War. European political thought played a key role in shaping the geopolitical landscape, influencing democratic and authoritarian systems worldwide. European influence on global governance and human rights. Following the devastation of World War II, European nations took a leading role in creating international organizations and legal frameworks that promoted peace, democracy, and human rights. The United Nations was established in 1945, with European nations playing a key role in drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, which enshrined fundamental freedoms, equality, and justice for all. The European Union, EU, emerged as a model of regional cooperation, promoting economic integration, political stability, and human rights across the continent. The European Convention on Human Rights, ECHR, established by the International Criminal Court, ICC, based in The Hague, Netherlands, prosecutes crimes against humanity and war crimes, reinforcing the global commitment to justice. European political thought has also influenced post-colonial governments, with former colonies adopting parliamentary systems, constitutions, and legal codes based on European models. Countries across Africa, Asia, and Latin America have drawn from European governance structures while integrating their own traditions. The enduring legacy of European political thought today, the principles of democracy, human rights, and rule of law, which originated in Europe, remain central to global governance. European political institutions continue to shape international policies, economic development, and diplomatic relations. The European Parliament, NATO, and the World Trade Organization play crucial roles in maintaining global stability and cooperation. European philosophers, revolutionaries, and political leaders have left a profound impact on history, laying the foundation for modern democracy, international law, and human rights. Their contributions continue to guide nations, influence political discourse, and inspire movements for justice and freedom across the world. The power of European humans is profoundly evident in their unparalleled contributions to science and technology. Over centuries, Europe has been a hub of innovation, discovery, and invention, leading to breakthroughs that have transformed human civilization. From the early scientific methods of ancient Greece and Rome to the revolutionary discoveries of the Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, and the modern digital age, European scientists, engineers, and inventors have shaped the way we understand and interact with the world. The impact of these advancements is immeasurable. European innovations have laid the foundation for medicine, physics, chemistry, biology, engineering, transportation, and information technology, influencing every aspect of modern life. The scientific curiosity and rigorous research methodologies developed in Europe have propelled humanity into an era of unprecedented progress. The birth of scientific thought, ancient Greece and Rome. The origins of scientific exploration in Europe can be traced back to ancient Greece, where thinkers such as Aristotle, Pythagoras, and Archimedes made groundbreaking contributions to mathematics, physics, and natural sciences. Pythagoras introduced fundamental mathematical concepts, including the Pythagorean theorem, which remains essential in geometry and physics. Aristotle laid the foundation for biology and physics by classifying living organisms and developing principles of motion. His ideas influenced scientific thinking for centuries. Archimedes, a genius in engineering and physics, developed principles of buoyancy and mechanical advantage, pioneering early mechanical engineering concepts. The Romans, while known for their military and architecture advancements, also contributed to engineering and infrastructure. Aqueducts, roads, bridges, and sanitation systems developed by Roman engineers became models for modern city planning and construction. The scientific revolution, a new era of discovery. The scientific revolution of the 16th and 17th centuries marked a turning point in European history. It was during this period that the foundations of modern science were established through experimentation, observation, and mathematical precision. This era challenged traditional beliefs and laid the groundwork for the technological advancements that followed. Nicolaus Copernicus revolutionized astronomy by proposing the heliocentric model, which placed the sun rather than the earth at the center of the solar system. Johannes Kepler refined this model with his laws of planetary motion, proving that planets orbit the sun in ellipses, not perfect circles. Galileo Galilei, through his telescopic observations, confirmed Copernicus' theory and made crucial discoveries about planetary motion, inertia, and gravity. Isaac Newton unified the laws of motion and gravitation in his seminal work, Principia Mathematica, creating the basis of classical physics. René Descartes and Francis Bacon developed scientific methods based on reasoning, logic, and empirical evidence, forming the foundation of modern research. The discoveries of the scientific revolution shattered medieval worldviews and led to rapid advancements in multiple disciplines, setting the stage for industrialization and modern technological progress. The Industrial Revolution, transforming the world, the Industrial Revolution, 18th and 19th centuries, which began in Britain and spread across Europe, was one of the most transformative periods in human history. It marked the transition from manual labor and agrarian economies to mechanized production, urbanization, and global industrialization. Key innovations included the steam engine. James Watt revolutionized transportation, manufacturing, and energy production, making mechanized industry possible. Textile machinery. Richard Arkwright, James Hargreaves, Samuel Crompton transformed the textile industry, increasing production speeds and lowering costs. The telegraph and telephone. Samuel Morse, Alexander Graham Bell, making instant long-distance contact possible. Steel production enabled the construction of railroads, bridges, skyscrapers, and ships, accelerating infrastructure development. Electricity. Michael Faraday, Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison paved the way for modern power generation, lighting, and electrical appliances. The Industrial Revolution not only increased productivity and economic growth, but also laid the foundation for modern transportation, medicine, and communications. It fundamentally changed how people lived, worked, and interacted with the world. Medical and biological breakthroughs. Europe has been at the forefront of medical and biological discoveries that have saved millions of lives and improved human health. From the early study of anatomy to the development of vaccines, European scientists have been pioneers in understanding diseases, developing treatments, and advancing surgical techniques. Andreas Vesalius revolutionized anatomy. by publishing De Humani Corporis Fabrica, which provided detailed drawings of human organs and structures. Louis Pasteur developed pasteurization and germ theory, leading to the discovery of vaccines for rabies and anthrax. Robert Koch identified the causes of tuberculosis and cholera, laying the foundation for microbiology. Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin, the first widely used antibiotic, which revolutionized medicine and saved millions from bacterial infections. Marie Curie, a pioneer in radioactivity, made crucial discoveries in nuclear physics and cancer treatment. Edward Jenner developed the smallpox vaccine, the world's first vaccine eliminating one of the deadliest diseases in history. These medical advancements have had a global impact, increasing life expectancy, reducing mortality rates, and improving public health worldwide. The digital and space age. European contributions. In the 20th and 21st centuries, Europe has continued to be a driving force in scientific and technological advancements, particularly in space exploration, computing, and artificial intelligence. The Large Hadron Collider, CERN, Switzerland, the world's most powerful particle accelerator, which led to the discovery of the Higgs boson, deepening our understanding of the universe. Pioneering missions to Mars, Jupiter, and the Moon, contributing to the global space industry. Alan Turing, the father of modern computing, whose work in cryptography and artificial intelligence laid the foundation for digital technology. Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web, revolutionizing global communication and the Internet. CRISPR gene editing. European researchers have been at the forefront of genetic engineering, enabling breakthroughs in medicine and biotechnology. These contributions have positioned Europe as a leader in modern technological innovation, the ongoing legacy of European scientific excellence. Europe's commitment to scientific research, technological progress, and innovation continues to shape the world. The European Union invests heavily in research and development, funding projects in renewable energy, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and space exploration. European universities, research institutions, and technology companies remain at the forefront of global advancements, ensuring that the legacy of scientific discovery continues for generations to come. From the early philosophers and mathematicians of ancient Greece to the modern-day breakthroughs in medicine, physics, and space exploration, European scientists and inventors have propelled humanity forward. Their contributions have defined the modern world, revolutionizing how we live, work, and understand the universe. The power of European humans is profoundly reflected in their immense contributions to philosophy, intellectual thought, and the shaping of global ideologies. From ancient Greece to the modern age, European thinkers have laid the foundations of ethics, politics, metaphysics, logic, and human rights, influencing civilizations across the world. The intellectual movements that originated in Europe have not only shaped governments and societies but have also sparked revolutions, advancements in science, and new understandings of the human condition. European philosophical traditions are among the richest in history, giving birth to numerous schools of thought that have deeply influenced how we perceive existence, morality, governance, and knowledge. These traditions have been driven by an insatiable curiosity about the world, a relentless pursuit of truth, and a commitment to rational thought. Ancient Greek philosophy, the birth of Western thought, the origins of European intellectual influence can be traced back to ancient Greece, where thinkers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle laid the foundation of Western philosophy. Their ideas continue to shape modern thought education, and governance. Socrates emphasized the importance of questioning and self examination, coining the famous phrase, "the unexamined life is not worth living." His method of critical inquiry, known as the Socratic method, remains a fundamental technique in modern education and philosophy. Plato, a student of Socrates, introduced ideas on justice, governance, and morality in his work The Republic, envisioning a society governed by philosopher kings. His concept of the theory of forms has influenced metaphysics and epistemology for centuries. Aristotle, a student of Plato, made groundbreaking contributions in logic, ethics, politics, and natural sciences. His Nicomachean Ethics introduced the idea of virtue ethics, which remains central to moral philosophy today. His classification of knowledge and systematic approach to reasoning laid the groundwork for the scientific method used in modern research. Greek philosophical ideas were later adopted and expanded by Roman thinkers such as Cicero and Seneca, who applied them to law, governance, and rhetoric, influencing the structure of Western legal systems and democratic ideals. Medieval and Renaissance philosophy, the rise of humanism during the Middle Ages, European philosophy was dominated by theological thought, with figures such as Saint Augustine and Thomas Aquinas merging classical philosophy with Christian theology. However, the Renaissance, 14th, 17th centuries, brought about a resurgence of classical knowledge, sparking new ways of thinking that emphasized human potential, reason, and individualism. Saint Augustine synthesized Christian theology with Platonic thought, shaping medieval religious philosophy and ideas of morality. Thomas Aquinas integrated Aristotelian logic with Christian doctrine, laying the foundation for scholasticism, which became the dominant intellectual tradition of medieval Europe. Erasmus, a Renaissance humanist, advocated for education, free thought, and religious tolerance, emphasizing the power of knowledge to elevate human society. Niccolo Machiavelli, in The Prince, redefined political philosophy, introducing realism and pragmatism in governance, emphasizing power, strategy, and human nature. Francis Bacon pioneered empirical reasoning, arguing that knowledge should be based on observation and experience rather than blind faith or tradition. His work led to the development of the scientific method. The Renaissance marked a turning point in European intellectual history, shifting focus from religious dogma to human reason and the potential for progress. The Enlightenment. The age of reason and revolution, the 18th century Enlightenment was one of the most significant intellectual movements in history, championing reason, individual rights, democracy, and scientific progress. European philosophers of this era laid the ideological foundations for modern democracy, human rights, and secular governance. John Locke introduced the concept of natural rights, life, liberty, and property, arguing that governments must protect these rights. His ideas influenced the American and French revolutions and became the basis for modern liberal democracy. Voltaire was a fierce advocate for freedom of speech, religious tolerance, and the separation of church and state, shaping modern views on civil liberties. Jean-Jacques Rousseau introduced the idea of the social contract, arguing that legitimate governments derived their authority from the people, a key principle in democratic governance. Immanuel Kant emphasized the power of human reason and the categorical imperative, a moral philosophy that argues for universal ethical principles. Adam Smith, in The Wealth of Nations, laid the foundation for modern economics, advocating for free markets and capitalism, which have shaped global economies. The Enlightenment profoundly influenced modern political structures, leading to constitutional governments, human rights frameworks, and legal systems that prioritize individual freedoms and justice. Modern European intellectual movements, psychology, existentialism, and postmodernism. As the modern era progressed, European thinkers continued to redefine philosophy, psychology, and social theory, influencing politics, ethics, and human behavior. Karl Marx developed Marxism, critiquing capitalism and advocating for economic equality and social change, influencing global socialist and communist movements. Friedrich Nietzsche introduced existentialist and postmodern thought, questioning morality, religion, and traditional values, influencing 20th century philosophy. Sigmund Freud revolutionized psychology with his theory of the unconscious mind, psychoanalysis, and concepts such as the id, ego, and superego, shaping modern psychotherapy. Albert Camus and Jean-Paul Sartre developed existentialism, arguing that humans must create their own meaning in an indifferent universe. Michel Foucault and Jacques Derrida introduced postmodernism, questioning power structures, language, and historical narratives, reshaping social and political discourse. European intellectuals of the modern era have significantly influenced contemporary thought, from psychology and sociology to political theory and ethics, shaping the way societies operate and evolve. European influence on global ideologies and governance. The philosophical and intellectual traditions of Europe have had a lasting impact on global governance, legal systems, and social structures. European ideals of democracy, individual rights, and rational governance have inspired revolutions. Reforms and constitutions worldwide have been adopted and implemented in governments across the world, from the United States to India. Human rights, as outlined in documents like the Magna Carta, the Bill of Rights, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, trace their origins to European intellectual movements. Capitalism and free markets, influenced by Adam Smith's economic theories, dominate global trade and industry. Socialism and labor rights movements, inspired by European philosophers, have led to significant worker protections, social welfare systems, and economic reforms in various nations. European intellectual influence continues to shape modern policies, educational frameworks, and ethical discussions, ensuring that the power of reason, knowledge, and philosophical inquiry remains a driving force in human progress. The enduring legacy of European intellectual contributions, from the classical philosophies of Greece and Rome to the scientific methods of the Enlightenment and the existential and postmodern discourses of the 20th century, Europe has been at the forefront of intellectual and philosophical evolution. The power of European humans is not merely in their ability to conquer and innovate, but in their deep intellectual tradition which has shaped laws, governance, ethics, psychology, and social structures worldwide. European philosophy has provided humanity with the tools to question, analyze, and redefine the world around us. It has empowered societies to pursue truth, justice, and progress, ensuring that the search for wisdom and knowledge remains a timeless endeavor. The power of European humans is profoundly reflected in their unparalleled cultural and artistic legacy, which has shaped and influenced civilizations across the world. The depth, richness, and diversity of European culture span across centuries, from the classical art of ancient Rome and Greece to the groundbreaking modernist movements of the 20th century. Europe has been a cradle of creativity, birthing countless artistic innovations, literary masterpieces, musical compositions, and architectural wonders that continue to captivate and inspire humanity. European culture is not merely an expression of beauty, but a profound representation of human thought, emotion, and history. It reflects the struggles, triumphs, and evolving identities of societies, whether in the form of grand cathedrals, timeless paintings, or legendary literary works. European cultural contributions have set global standards for artistic excellence, philosophical depth, and aesthetic refinement. Classical and medieval foundations of European culture. The earliest roots of European culture can be traced back to ancient Greece and Rome, where art, literature, and architecture laid the foundation for future generations. Greek sculpture and architecture, exemplified by the Parthenon and the works of Phidias, set the standards for harmony, proportion, and naturalism in art. Greek tragedies and comedies, written by Sophocles, Euripides, and Aristophanes, introduce complex storytelling and philosophical themes that still influence modern literature and theatre. Roman engineering and architecture, including the Colosseum and aqueduct, demonstrated an extraordinary blend of aesthetic beauty and functionality. Roman frescoes and mosaics depicted daily life, mythology, and historical events, leaving behind a vivid artistic record of their civilization. Medieval European art was deeply religious, seen in the grandeur of Gothic cathedrals such as Notre Dame de Paris and the richly detailed illuminated manuscripts crafted by monks. The music of this era, including Gregorian chants, laid the foundation for Western classical music. The medieval period also saw the rise of chivalric literature with legendary epics such as Beowulf and the Song of Roland, which celebrated heroism, honor, and the struggles of early European societies. Despite being known as the Dark Ages, the medieval period cultivated artistic traditions that set the stage for the grand revival of the Renaissance, one of the most significant cultural revolutions in human history. The Renaissance, a cultural rebirth. The Renaissance, 14th, 17th centuries, was a defining moment in European culture, marked by a resurgence of classical learning, humanism, and artistic brilliance. Originating in Italy and spreading throughout Europe, the Renaissance revolutionized painting, sculpture, literature, architecture, and music, leading to an explosion of creativity that still defines artistic excellence today. Leonardo da Vinci, often regarded as the ultimate Renaissance man, created masterpieces such as the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper, blending science, anatomy, and artistry to produce stunningly lifelike works. Michelangelo, a master sculptor and painter, gave the world the awe-inspiring frescoes of the Sistine Chapel and the powerful sculpture of David, capturing the beauty and strength of the human form. Raphael and Titian elevated portraiture and religious painting, adding depth, color, and emotional intensity to their works. In literature, William Shakespeare revolutionized storytelling with his poetic dramas and deep psychological insight, creating characters like Hamlet, Macbeth, and Othello that remain relevant across generations. The architecture of the Renaissance, as seen in Filippo Brunelleschi's Florence Cathedral dome, combined mathematical precision with artistic grace, influencing future generations of architects. This era signified Europe's cultural ascent, inspiring not only artistic excellence but also intellectual progress, as thinkers like Dante, Machiavelli, and Erasmus reshaped literature, philosophy, and political thought. The Baroque and classical periods, drama, grandeur, and refinement following the Renaissance. The Baroque period, 17th, 18th centuries, introduced art that was theatrical, dynamic, and dramatic. European artists, composers, and architects embraced ornamentation, movement, and grandeur, creating some of the most spectacular cultural achievements in history. Caravaggio and Rembrandt mastered the use of light and shadow, producing intensely emotional paintings filled with realism and depth. Johann Sebastian Bach, George Friedrich Handel, and Antonio Vivaldi crafted musical compositions that were intricate, expressive, and powerful. Bach's Mass in B minor, Handel's Messiah, and Vivaldi's The Four Seasons remain celebrated masterpieces of classical music. Baroque architecture, as seen in the palaces of Versailles and St. Peter's Basilica, combine overwhelming scale with exquisite detailing, symbolizing power and divine majesty. This cultural evolution continued into the classical period, 18th and 19th centuries, where music, literature, and art took on a more structured, balanced, and emotionally profound form. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Ludwig van Beethoven elevated music to new heights, composing symphonies and sonatas that continue to captivate audiences worldwide. The Romantic movement, led by poets like Goethe, Lord Byron, and Victor Hugo, introduced deep emotions, individualism, and the glorification of nature in literature. European ballet, perfected in France and Russia, became a refined and elegant form of storytelling through movement. Each of these artistic movements left an indelible mark on global culture, influencing creative expression in countless ways. The 19th and 20th centuries, modernism and cultural innovation. As Europe entered the modern era, its artists, writers, and musicians broke free from traditional forms, pioneering new cultural movements that reflected the rapidly changing world. Impressionism, led by Claude Monet and Edgar Degas, rejected rigid artistic traditions, focusing instead on capturing fleeting moments and the effects of light. Modernist literature, spearheaded by writers like James Joyce, Franz Kafka, and Virginia Woolf, experimented with new narrative techniques, introspection, and psychological depth. Surrealism and abstract art, led by figures such as Salvador Dali and Pablo Picasso, challenged conventional artistic norms, creating dreamlike and fragmented imagery. Film and cinema, pioneered in Europe by Georges Méliès, Sergei Eisenstein, and Ingmar Bergman, transformed storytelling into a visual and auditory spectacle, influencing the global film industry. European fashion and design, with iconic figures like Coco Chanel and Christian Dior, set trends that continue to dominate the fashion world. From the opera houses of Italy to the avant-garde theaters of Berlin, European culture has consistently reinvented itself, remaining at the forefront of artistic exploration and expression. The lasting impact of European culture on the world. The cultural legacy of Europe has not only enriched the continent but has also profoundly influenced global aesthetics, entertainment, literature, and creative expression. European artistic and literary traditions have inspired countless movements in Asia, the Americas, and beyond. Today, museums, symphony halls, theaters, and galleries around the world are filled with European masterpieces, continuing to inspire new generations of artists and thinkers. Whether through the timeless music of Beethoven, the visionary paintings of Van Gogh, the literary genius of Shakespeare, or the architectural wonders of Gothic cathedrals, the power of European humans is undeniable in the realm of culture. It is a power that transcends time, uniting humanity through beauty, emotion, and profound artistic expression. The power of European humans is not merely a historical phenomenon, but a living legacy that continues to shape the modern world. From the groundbreaking philosophies that laid the foundation for governance and human rights, to the artistic and scientific revolutions that have pushed the boundaries of human knowledge, Europe has consistently been at the forefront of progress. Its resilience, creativity, and intellectual might have defined civilizations, inspired movements, and ignited change across continents.